Hello everyone, in this tutorial I'll walk you through a simple example to demonstrate what vanishing gradient is. So without wasting any further time, let's get started by importing the necessary modules. I'm pretty sure you have a rough idea what vanishing gradient is. The problem is basically as you keep on increasing the layers in a deep neural network, due to some activation functions like tanh and sigmoid, the gradients of the loss function approach zero, making the neural network hard to learn. So there are plenty of resources out there that explain this concept theoretically. In this video, I'll show you how gradients reach near zero in case of a vanishing gradient problem when you use activation functions like sigmoid, and how do you overcome it to a certain extent by using activation functions like ReLU. If this idea is clear to you, let's move forward and generate a dataset. So the next thing that I do is I generate a binary classification dataset which has two target values 0 and 1 and two features x1 and x2. So let me go forward and create the x and y values, and let me also show you a scatter plot showing the actual dataset that is there. So let me run this cell as well. So as you can clearly see, I have two feature values x1 and x2, and I have target values 0 or 1. The points shown in white color belong to class 0. The points shown in red color belong to class 1. Let's move forward and split our dataset into train and test. So let me go forward. In case of deep learning, you don't have a 67-33 split, but I'm still using it given I have a very small exercise in hand. So let me run this cell. The next thing that I do is I create a function called as get underscore model, which accepts an input parameter called as input activation. Going over the piece of code that I've written inside the function, the first thing that I do is I create an instance of the class sequential and save it into a variable called as model. Then I add an input layer, which is a dense layer which has input dimensions equal to 2 and 10 hidden units. If you notice carefully, I have not specified any input activation because the input activations would come in from the function call itself. Post which I've added 10 hidden layers in the neural network architecture where each layer contains 10 neurons. And the final layer that I've added is basically again a dense layer, and here I've specified the activation to be sigmoid given it is a binary classification problem. And with the usual practice of defining the loss function, defining the optimizer, and defining the matrix. Now that I've walked you through the model structure, let's move forward. I'm pretty sure all of you would have seen this formula, which is W new equal to W old minus alpha times, that is my learning rate, times the partial derivative of loss function with respect to the weight values. So I've rearranged this formula in order to catch hold of the gradient values in a particular weight region. So I'll explain more on this when we come to the actual implementation part. So essentially the gradients with respect to the weights is equal to W old minus W new divided by the learning rate. So this is what I've tried to implement in this function as well. It accepts three inputs. The first input is your old underscore weight. The second input is your new underscore weight. And your third input is learning underscore rate. Now I calculate the gradient using the above formula and save it into a variable called as gradient. The next thing that I've done is I've calculated a variable called as percentage change for weight, which essentially encapsulates the change in percentage between weight values for one epoch or one backpropagation to happen. If this idea is clear, let's now move forward and create a neural network architecture with two different activation functions. As you recollect, sigmoid activation function does suffer from the vanishing gradient problem, and that is what I'll try to explain here. So the first thing that I do is I create a simple model using the sigmoid activation function. So let me run this cell. Let's go over a small summary of the sigmoid activation model that we've created. So this is the overall model structure that is defined. If I catch hold of this layer, for example, So you have 10 input neurons of one hidden layer connected to the other 10 hidden units. So in all you have 10 into 10 connections, which is 100. Plus you have 10 different biases attached to 10 different neurons. So that is why you have total of 110 parameters for that particular layer. So this is the overall architecture that we've come up with. The only change that you will have going forward as well in the second variant is just the activation function. In order to show you that the gradients of the loss function approach zero when you use a sigmoid activation function, the first thing that I do is I catch hold of the weights at initialization. And here I am catching hold of the first layer, that is the input layer weights, which are more prone to vanishing gradient problem. So let me run this cell. Let me go forward and show you the first layer weights. So these are your first layer weights that are there in your neural network architecture. Now the next thing that I'll do is I will train this model for one epoch only and try to find out the rate of change of gradients in that one epoch that has happened. So let me run this cell. So as you can clearly see, it's trained for just one epoch and we have a very small accuracy as well. But the objective of this video is not to train the model entirely. The objective of the video is to find out how vanishing gradient happens in case of a sigmoid activation function. Given I have iterated through one epoch, the next thing that I'll do is I'll again catch hold of the weights of the first layer. So let me run this cell and let me show you the updated weights of the first layer. So if I look at the first weight of the first layer, the initial value was minus 0.16459507. After one epoch, it has changed to minus 0.16458306. So it's a very small change that has happened. And in order to calculate the gradients that have flowed into the first layer, as well as the percentage change in the weight, I will pass on these values, that is the sigmoid first layer weights, that is the initial weight values, the updated weight values, and also the learning rate of the model. Since I have not specified any learning rate during the model definition phase, I will catch hold of the default value of the learning rate. So let me run this cell as well. So let me now show you the gradient values in the first layer of the neural network. So as you can clearly see, these are the gradient values that I have in my neural network, which are very small in nature. If I continue training this very large model that I've created, then after some epochs, I wouldn't see any change in the values of accuracy because the gradients of the loss function would have approached near zero, making it very hard to train the neural network because your initial layers wouldn't be updated with respect to the weights as well. If I now go forward and show you the weight changes that have happened, this is what you will observe. So these values are in percentages. So none of the values have crossed even the 1% mark in terms of change from the previous value to the new value. And it is not a situation that we've reached near optimum value as well. This was the first iteration wherein I was trying to learn the parameters. So this is how vanishing gradient affects your overall model performance in case of deep neural networks. One of the simplest way to tackle this is by changing the activation function from sigmoid to ReLU. So let me show you how you can do that. So I repeat the entire exercise with a new activation function, which is the ReLU function. So let me run this cell. Let me catch hold of the first layer of the weights. Let me now train the model for one epoch. Let me now catch hold of the updated weights. Let me now show you the first layer weights after one epoch. Let me now pass forward these values to the function that I've created, which is change underscore in underscore weight underscore gradient. And now let me show you the overall gradients that exist in the first layer when you use a ReLU function. So as you can clearly see, the gradient values are significant when I make use of the ReLU function. Remember one thing, there is absolutely no change in the architecture that I've done. The only change that I've made is in the activation function. So this is how I can avoid the gradient of the loss function to approach zero by making use of ReLU activation function. This is not the sure shot solution. You have ResNet architectures which have emerged with time, which I'll cover in the next videos. But by just changing the activation functions, you can see the drastic change in the gradients that have populated in this output cell. And if I also catch hold of the overall weight change that has happened, then that would still be a very significant number. So you have a weight change of 27%, 1.65%, 1.35%, 0.71%, which is a very significant change considering this is the first layer of the model that I have. So this was my attempt in explaining how vanishing gradient problem occurs because of activation functions like sigmoid or tanh. I hope you found this video informative. If you do like the content that I post on my channel, it would be really motivating if you can press the subscribe button and also press the bell icon to be notified for future amazing videos on data science and machine learning. Thank you so much for watching the video.